Slade Wilson has fallen to the power of the Great Darkness, and now it's every hero in the DC Universe's problem. What'll happen next? Well, let's hop into the pages of Dark Crisis issue number 2 and find out together, shall we? So then, as we join the book, we once again pick up with our secondary antagonist of the piece, Pariah. He once again talks about his great long history with crises, how he's been tortured and forced to watch the universe as he knows it morph and change more times than he can count, and that maybe the only way to bring back the infinite Earths and end his suffering once and for all is to kill Earth Zero. Now, back on Earth Zero, a bunch of Nightwing students are dragging him from the rubble as Deathstroke and the secret society of supervillains are laying siege to the building. Slade naturally takes this minute to gloat and says that he is greatly disappointed by this new crop of young heroes. They couldn't handle getting taken by surprise. And I mean, Deathstroke should know, right? He's a connoisseur of fighting children. He's been doing it for most of his adult life, and worse still to children, but they don't like bringing that up, do they? This attack on the tower, we discover, is actually just one of many coordinated attacks happening all over the world. Slade says he plans to slay this generation of new young heroes in the crib before they can fully take over and fill the slots of the dead/missing Justice League. Deathstroke further goes on to say that he could kill any of these new Titans Tower students and no one would care, but if he killed Nightwing, the whole world would lose its mind. Seriously, we're only about 2 issues in, and Dark Crisis may already be the most self-aware, self-referential crisis story I've ever read, and that's saying something. Nightwing ends up getting challenged to a duel to the death with Deathstroke, with the fates of all of his different students hanging in the balance. Dick ends up winning round 1 of what I guess is supposed to be some sort of round-based trial by combat, and Deathstroke says the only way he can really win is by picking another person to challenge him instead. Okay, so we're just Darth Vadering it up right now and altering the deal as we go along. Dick thinks for a minute about who could possibly stand up against Deathstroke, but in the end he doesn't have to pick, as John Kent, the new junior Superman, ends up swooping on in and taking a bullet for his mentor Dick. It's actually a very cool moment where Nightwing even says, looks like a job for Superman. Deathstroke and the secret society of supervillains planned for such an eventuality though, and because of that, Slade brought his own Superman, well, a cyborg Superman to be exact. This is actually a nice bit of connective tissue to that Deathstroke Inc. book. It would seem that Hank Henshaw was also being controlled by the Great Darkness, and him and John actually end up having a really awesome knockdown, drag-out fight where Cyborg Superman tries to get into John's head that he knows all about being a pretender to the throne of Superman, and that he tried on the identity the last time his father died. References. So now, even though Deathstroke got the drop on the good guys, and even though they greatly outnumber Dick and his Titans 10-1, how exactly do they end up not killing them? Well, Pariah pipes up and says that killing the heroes and settling old personal scores was never part of the deal he inked with the Great Darkness. He's only supposed to sow seeds of chaos and help bring about a brand new crisis. Also, be sure to leave most of those young heroes alive because there's a good chance Pariah might need them to feed his crazy machine the same way he fed the Leaguers to it. Oh, and speaking of which, Beast Boy didn't even die either. He got shot in the head, but he was fine because he was mid-transformation or something. The bad guys retreat, and John the Superman is able to take down Cyborg Superman by pulling off a very dangerous maneuver, which in turn ends up exploding the entirety of Titans Academy. Don't worry, that book is cancelled. I don't think they're going to be running classes there much longer. In fact, some of the students are so freaked out by how close to death they were at the hands of Deathstroke, they all quit and turn in their uniforms. Wow, I might actually complain about these heroes literally quitting once the going got tough, but hey, I was never a fan of Titans Academy. I don't know who half these people are, so it's no skin off me. The day is ultimately saved, but it's a bittersweet, hollow victory. It's also around this time, too, that Black Adam shows up to shower everyone in I told you so's. It seems that Deathstroke and the Society also attacked Kahndaq, which means that they just made it very personal for this modern-day strongman dictator. Adam reiterates that he feels that John is not ready yet to fill his father's shoes and lead the League, and despite what he said before, Nightwing ended up totally friggin' beefing it too. So it looks like there's only one course of action left. Looks like Black Adam is gonna have to put his money where his big mouth is and train this brand new Justice League himself. Not just because it's the right morally upstanding thing to do, but also because, let's face it, Teth Adam here is probably drowning in survivor's guilt being the only one to actually make it back from the League's last mission. But he's much too cool and stoic to say that sort of thing. Now, as the comic winds down, we head out to space space, where we see the familiar face of Kyle Rayner escaping an alien ship. Oh no, is this the point where I have to admit I haven't been keeping up with Green Lantern for like the last decade? He's been gone for a bit, Kyle, right? I'm not just imagining things. Kyle gets picked up by Hal and Joe Mullen, the latter of which he's meeting for the very first time. They get him up to speed on the death of the Justice League and how the Earth needs them all more now than ever. If the Flashes are running through time to try and find Barry Allen, then it's going to be up to the Green Lantern Corps, as well as a newly redeputized Kyle, to go and try and find the Dark Army and Pariah. Want to know more about that story? Read their tie-in probably as the comic comes to a close. And so that was Dark Crisis issue number 2, everybody, and overall I continue to enjoy it, even if it does feel like a lot of Crisis stories I've read before. It's got plenty of pomp and circumstance. The art is fun, there's cool action scenes. As I've said 100 times before, I love getting to see second-stringer DC characters and cult favorites who never get the spotlight get some, including Kyle Rayner now, who, if we want to look at this story from a historical lens, he kind of is the patient zero for the new, young, hip hero taking up an old mantle. Come to think of it, fans hated Kyle for frickin' ever just because he wasn't Hal Jordan, but now he's an integral part of the Green Lantern mythos, and you can't really imagine the DC universe without him. So, you know, hats off to Williamson for really making this a story about legacy and examining different eras within the DC universe and seeing how they all fit together like a big puzzle. My only real problem, though, is just about every time I'm about to really get into the story, really lose myself and invest, they do something totally self-referential and fourth wall breaking. Which, for the record, is totally different than being meta. That's a whole other thing. Dark Knight's metal was meta, well, in the beginning at least, then it became something different. There's just this inescapable feeling of winking and nudging that I wish they would calm down with just a little bit. Overall, though, I'd give this a 7.5 out of 10, and I'm definitely interested to see where the story goes from here. Hey there everyone, Kate Joel again, and I just want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. It means a lot to me. And hey, if you enjoyed the book I covered in this issue and want some comics of your own, might I recommend Book Depository? It's my #1 place for shopping for comic book trades. You get a great price, and if you use my link down in the description, you'll actually be helping me out at the same time. You get something, I get something, everybody wins, right? So until next time everyone, I've been Joel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.